Hey, it's a video response to Trademark 629's Supercard, Ultimate Supercard Challenge. Basically challenged you to come up with a supercard using anybody. You can use 6 guys, all tag teams, from whatever roster. You can use 6 guys from WWE, 6 guys from TNA, 6 guys from each company basically. But you can use as many companies as you want. 12 match card max. Only allowed 2 gimmicks. I didn't use any gimmicks. I don't think gimmicks necessarily make matches better. I think if matches, whoops. I don't think a match necessarily needs a gimmick to be good. If the competitors in a match are good enough that they can carry the match off without a gimmick, I think it's more important to have good competitors in a match, competitors that can carry off a match without a gimmick, than to throw in a gimmick to make a match better. I don't like gimmick matches very often. I only sort of see them as like feud enders or special occasions or that sort of thing. Other than that, I don't like doing gimmick matches. So no gimmicks on this card. This card is full 12 matches. But one of the points I'd like to first make about this card is that there isn't one main event, there isn't 2 main events, there isn't 3 main events, there's not 4 main events, there's not 5 main events, there's not 6 main events, there's 7. 7 main events. I structured the card in such a way that you've got five matches during the first section of the card. You've got 4 matches during the second section, and then you've got the three biggest matches in order from third, second, first. Obviously, since I've got so many main events, and I've got the two intermissions which sort of split the card. I didn't set the card best from worst match down to best match. I set it in a way that each section builds towards a main event before the intermission, which I think that works better. You build towards something, and then you have a break, and then you start building towards something else, and then you have a break, and then at the end of the show, you've got your trifecta of your main events, your 3 main events, bash, bash, bash. I think that works best for this card. So it will be in the description box. I'll have labelled up the main events. It'll be any whatever number main event I designate it. But that just shows you how good I think this card is, that I have 7 main events. Okay, so I'd open the show with a 4-way tag team match. Oh, and if you've got any questions about where I've taken people or tag teams or whatever from, PWG is the answer to a lot of those questions. Motorcity Machine Guns, the Briscoes, the Young Bucks, and Apollo 55. 4 fantastic tag teams. Apollo 55, the IWGP Tag Team Champions, Ryusuke Taguchi and Prince Devitt. Great tag team. One of the best junior heavyweight tag teams in Japan. Probably, I think, maybe one of the best of all time. They're definitely up there. They're a great tag team. Young Bucks, they're phenomenal. Some people call them a Hardy Fight. I think they've got different edge to them. They feel like a team as opposed to 2 separate wrestlers, and I like that about them. You've got the Briscoes, they're the Briscoes, 6-time ROH Tag Team Champions, one of the best tag teams I've ever seen, and Motorcity Machine Guns, again, another phenomenal tag team. This will be a great opening match, very fast paced, get off to a good start. Second match of the night would be, I really like this idea. When I first thought when the concept first came up, this was one of the matches I immediately thought of. Jushin Thunder Liger versus Mistico. Now, this is you've got the Japanese style and you've got the Mexican style, or Hispanic style, whatever you want to call it, and you've got a legend, and you've got one of the biggest modern stars of the modern era. And you've got these two masked competitors who have this sense of mystery about them, who are both very competent wrestlers, who are two of the biggest draws in their respective parts of the world. Liger is a huge star in Japan, win or lose, and Mistico is the biggest draw outside of John Cena, really. Those two would have a tremendous match, I'm sure. Third match of the night, Beer Money versus the All Night Express. All Night Express are undoubtedly my favourite tag team in the Ring of Honor right now. Love Kenny King. Kenny King is a future world champion. Anybody who disagrees with that is an idiot. He's a fantastic wrestler. He's got a great look to him. He's got great in-ring ability. He can talk. He's good on the mic. He's got the total package. And Rhett Titus isn't really that far behind him either. I think Rhett Titus, with a bit of fine tuning, could be a main event threat himself. Great tag team. The same goes with Beer Money. Robert Roode is again somebody who should be a future world champion. I think they missed the boat a bit with Robert Roode, because I honestly think he should be in and around the world title scene already. I think he should have been in and around the world title scene. He was getting a push after he had that singles match with Jarrett, and he beat Jeff Jarrett. But since then he kind of went downhill and sort of it's come to nothing. And it's a shame, because the guy is fantastic in the ring. He's a great worker. He's fantastic, in my opinion anyway. He's one of my favourite wrestlers. Highly underrated. James Storm is another one who has he's actually he was always looked at in America's Most Wanted. He was looked at as the second to Chris Harris, because Chris Harris got a bit of a main event push during the weekly pay-per-view era. And similar situation with Robert Roode. He's always been looked at as the B member of the team, and I think that's kind of a bit of a rough end of the stick for James Storm. James Storm's a phenomenal wrestler, fantastic wrestler. He's the Matt Hardy of a Christian of Beer Money and America's Most Wanted. Two more guys who were both overlooked during their time in the tag teams, but another fantastic worker. Beer Money versus All Night Express would be a great tag team match. Third match of the night is the first of my seven main events. The seventh. This one I designated the seventh. I'm not going to go too much detail on that. Nigel McGuinness versus Satoshi Kojima. McGuinness is one of the best wrestlers to have ever come out of the UK. He's fantastic. He's absolutely phenomenal all round. Nobody can doubt that. He was probably, I even preferred him as Ring of Honor champion over Dragon and Joe and even Punk. I honestly think McGuinness was the best Ring of Honor champion they've had. Kojima is a beast. Satoshi Kojima is the one Japanese heavyweight that I think is over there right now that I actually think could have made it all. Who could have gone all the way. He could have made it in WWE. He could have made it in WCW. I mean, he could have been a world champion. He could have been a world champion. He's that good. And I mean, all round, his in-ring ability. I mean, he was a champion. I think my first ever exposure to Kojima was in like maybe 2003, 2004. On the old wrestling channel over here in the UK. We had a wrestling channel for a brief period of time, and they showed Major League Wrestling, MLW. And I think that was my first ever exposure to Kojima, and I thought he was brilliant. He was the world heavyweight champion at the time, as far as I can remember. He was phenomenal. His style was just so different, and it was so unique, and he was so good. He knew how to work a match, and he was just a tremendous worker, and somebody that I enjoyed watching, which was quite strange at the time, because I'd gone into a phase where I didn't really like anything outside of the WWE, and then I was exposed to all this other wrestling, and even then I didn't really take to anybody, but Kojima was somebody I always felt a bit of a connection with. I thought he's a tremendous wrestler, tremendous worker. Definitely love to see him go up against McGuinness. You've got two guys who both use lariats as signature maneuvers. I mean, that would be a war in and of itself between those two with a lariat. Fifth match before the last match before the first intermission would be another. You'd have another sort of collision of a former ROH World Heavyweight Champion and a former IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Takeshi Morishima. Oh my god. Oh my god. Nakamura is probably outside of Kojima, he's my favourite, I'd say he's my favourite New Japan heavyweight. Morishima is my favourite Noah heavyweight. The guy should have held the GHC world title, the GHC heavyweight title. He was Ring of Honor world champion. He was a great Ring of Honor world champion. I mean, his first pinfall victory was at the hands of Nigel, and I mean, he carried that title so well. He put on great matches every single night. He's phenomenal worker. I mean, you look at him and you think he's just a fat guy. He's just a fat guy. This Martian is just a fat guy, but you see him in the ring, and he's a fantastic worker. I mean, those two in the ring with each other, that would be stiff as hell, but it would be a great match. So yeah, Nakamura versus Morishima. Off intermission, my first match of the post intermission would be AJ Styles versus Tyler Black versus Evan Bourne versus Kenny Omega in a fatal 4-way match. I don't really think I need to say too much about this. It's just all of these guys, great high flyers, great technical wrestlers. They can all of them. AJ Styles, we all know how competent AJ is, former World Heavyweight Champion. Tyler Black is, if you have not seen Tyler Black or Seth Rollins, whatever you want to call it, you need to, because he's amazing. He's an absolutely phenomenal worker. Has been since the day he debuted in ROH with Jim Jacobs in the Edge of Fall. Evan Bourne, Matt Seidel, whatever you want to call him, another fantastic worker, high flying, great athlete. He's got a great body for a small man as well. He looks the part, so he's got the WWE look at him as well. So, and Kenny Omega, I love Kenny Omega. And the Kreutz Raft, what a finisher! That would be a tremendous match. Next match on the card would be Wrestling's Greatest Tag Team versus Bad Intentions. This is a match that has been talked about as a collision of arguably the two best tag teams in the world. Bad Intentions, they're the GHC and the IWGP Tag Team Champions, and I would be taking them from Noah. Because the GHC Tag Team Champions, you see what I did there? Sneaky. This would just be another great tag team match. I think all three of the tag team matches on here would be great matches on a card on its own. I'd love to see this match. Really, definitely. Charlie is a great technical wrestler, and Shelton is Shelton. Shelton's always been put on a show, and Giant Bernard and Carl Anderson, they both owned their skills in Japan. Giant Bernard is so much better than he was when he was in WWE. He was an awful worker in WWE. He bumbling, clumsy, did not know how to work a wrestling match. He has gone to Japan and he has learned and he has developed his wrestling ability, and he is a tremendous competitor now. So yeah, definitely a great tag team match for me. Edge versus Kevin Steen. This is more to do with gimmick than necessarily wrestling match, but again, the two Canadians who would have a tremendous match. These two both great wrestlers. Kevin Steen is Kevin Steen. We all know how good Steen is. He's one of the hottest commodities in professional wrestling at the minute. I mean, the whole I hate Ring of Honor storyline. It's the hottest storyline in ROH, and it's around a guy that isn't even with the company. It's like, I think that's probably where they got the CM Punk idea from. No, but Kevin Steen, the whole psycho thing, the whole wanting to just beat the crap out of everyone and coming down in a straitjacket with Edge's whole psycho gimmick as well. I think those two colliding at that point when Kenny Steen was the crazy guy in the straitjacket and Edge with this manic psycho who's just spearing everybody for not really good reasons. I think that would be a great match. So Kevin Steen versus Edge. This is probably the match I would most be looking forward to on this card. My what I designate is the fourth main event. KENTA versus Akira Tozawa. Wow. Even saying it just has this essence about it that, you know, you feel that it would be a great match just hearing those two names. Tozawa is an amazing worker. I mean, the guys are wrestling machine, and KENTA is fucking KENTA. We all know what KENTA's capable of. I mean, if you don't, then he's arguably the best wrestler in the world right now. I'm just saying. I mean, he's on par with Bryan Danielson, at least on par, if not better. Those two in the ring together, it would just be a wrestling masterpiece. It'd be absolutely phenomenal. Then you have your second intermission. You have your three main events. The first of those main events is CM Punk versus Kurt Angle. I don't really know why I put this match together, but when I was thinking about guys that might have Kurt Angle face and guys that might have CM Punk face, and I realised that I didn't really have I had Kurt Angle versus KENTA in mind. I didn't really want to put CM Punk versus KENTA because I feel like it would be KENTA versus KENTA or CM Punk versus CM Punk, whichever way you want to look at it, because CM Punk sort of adapted moves from KENTA, and it would be it would be kind of stale. I love the idea. I wanted to see KENTA versus Akira Tozawa for a long time, so I put that match together. And I didn't really have anyone for Kurt Angle either, so I thought, why not put those two together? They both think they're the best wrestler in the world. I mean, at least in character. Why not throw them together? And those two would put on a great match. They'd put on a great match. It would be absolutely phenomenal. Kurt Angle versus CM Punk. Nobody's going to tell me that that's not going to be a good match. I mean, Punk came in. I think he moved up to the main roster a few months after Kurt left. I'm not entirely sure on that, but a few months after Kurt left, so they didn't quite get to butt heads. So I would love to see that match. I think that would be a phenomenal match. The semi-main event: Shawn Michaels versus Bryan Danielson. It's teacher versus student, really. Shawn Michaels and Bryan Danielson. They have a bit of a history, at least from Bryan Danielson's perspective. He went to the Shawn Michaels wrestling school to train, and then Shawn Michaels wasn't there. And I just think that these two are representative of two different eras of wrestling. I mean, you've got Shawn Michaels, who's got all the accolades and all this past and history behind him. I mean, he's fabled as one of the greatest superstars of all time, a WWE Hall of Fame, a legend. And you've got Bryan Danielson, who's gonna kick his fucking head in. Main event. I considered other matches. I considered Shawn Michaels versus Sting and Bryan Danielson versus The Undertaker, but everybody wants it. So I'm going to give it to them. Undertaker versus Sting. And this is Icon versus Icon. It's WWE or WWF, or you want to call it, versus WCW. The two biggest stars of the at least the two biggest gimmicks of the 90s of the Monday Night War. The two of the biggest rules of that entire period of wrestling collide. The epitome of WWE versus the epitome of WCW. The characters are just they are the respective companies. Undertaker is WWE, Sting is WCW. Without those two, those companies would be completely different. Those two almost defined what each company represented, in a manner of speaking. The two of them were huge, huge, huge stars. They both took each company to a next level when they hit their peak, and they both evolved over time. Both characters sort of developed different personas over time. I mean, Sting had different personas, and sort of different. He developed from the surface Sting, and then he went, and he later became the Crow Sting, and he obviously had the red and black sort of Wolfpack Sting as well. You had the Undertaker, who was the dead man, and then he was sort of more of a he was the Ministry Taker, and then he was the American Badass, and then he was then he went heel with the American Badass, which I think was even different from the American Badass itself. And then he went back to his he had the sort of modern version of the original Dead Man gimmick, and I just think these two need to have a match. It's just if wrestling fans do not get to see Sting versus Undertaker before those two men retire, I think fans will feel robbed, and I as a wrestling fan, I feel robbed myself. I really feel this match needs to happen. So yeah, this was my entry into the Wrestling Card Challenge, Supercard Challenge. Let me know what you guys think. Anybody wanna feel free to rate the video, like, comment, like I said, leave your opinions, and do subscribe. Yeah, I don't know, somewhere up there. Peace.